want to welcome to the stage my good friend from Canada. Woo, woo, Canada's in the house. Christine Campbell Rapin. Actually, I don't think she's in. Well, yeah, you are in Canada today. I know you're traveling today too, though, just like Jackie was earlier. So Christine is talking about Jumpstart Your Business Growth. So we're going to get nitty gritty with your business next, you guys. So come on, camera. Come on. We love to see your faces. I know Christine does too. Don't wear that bag. Get rid of that bag, you guys. All right, take the stage, Christine, and let's hear from what you got.
Thank you, Katrina. It is exciting to be here. Yes, I am coming to you on location. Have had a ton of travel, and it is about the life you want and the business that fuels it. And I am a straight shooter, so I want to just ask permission to come at you with simplicity and truth and tell you a little bit about my background first. So I am a business mentor, and I work with business owners, particularly business owners who are looking to create a client growth engine, because the business was designed in our minds, in our hearts, to be the fuel and to be the vehicle to creating impact. As very much as Arvi said, it is about the heart. It is about your message. It is about getting visible to the right people to make impact and to be the catalyst. I have spent all my life in the world of business, and I've worked with more than 400 companies to create a lot of money. I mean, a lot, like a super big lot, like a billion lots. And I've worked in every industry, and I've worked all around the world, although I am a very proud Canadian who's lived in 5 countries, 30 cities, some more than once. No, I didn't come from the military, but intriguingly enough, I did sign the Official Secrets Act when I lived in the UK. And what I've learned through my journey is that business is simple. And boy, have we freaking complicated it. And yet, if you can see the foundations, you can create your vision and you can make it come to life. When I started my career, I was in the world of marketing, and I was a creator, and I identify myself as a creator, and I'm here to create impact with you and with my clients. And I kept saying it has to be more than pretty. It has to have more substance. And that would really irritate generally the marketing peeps. But marketing in the really big leagues, when you're creating and running $1 million budgets, it is not just about creation. It is about numbers. And it is about proving the facts and being certain. And to create a business that has client growth engine, you have to have certainty you know what you're doing. And that eventually led me to client work. People kept saying, stop asking me, it's pretty, so what? Go in front of the room and be in front of the dragon's den. And that led me into business development. And I grew up in a world where my dad was an amazing and is an amazing businessman. He was all about the handshake. He was about integrity above all else. And the one thing my dad said to me that lingers a lot in my brain is only you know, and your maker, how you showed up today. So when you're brushing your teeth and you're getting ready at the end of the day, did you show up with integrity? Did you treat people with kindness? Did you stand by your word? And did you make impact? If you did, you will sleep easy. And if not, you have to trust that tomorrow you have a new opportunity. Use it wisely. And so I became a business development person. I was about sparking imagination and curiosity. And that's a really important word I want you to take out of today, is curiosity is the key to creating a client growth engine. And the curiosity went, I see the vision, I could compel and influence someone else to capture their imagination. And then guess what happened? Shit hit the fan and we didn't deliver. And that felt really crappy in my world of integrity. So I looked to my operations people and said, how come we can't deliver what we promised? Where did we go off track? And that eventually led me into the world of operations. I was an unexpected hire at a VP level, handling 300 people, having never been a VP of ops before. I'm the least likely hire, and I'm still the least likely hire today. But I knew how to pull the pieces together. And this is what I'm going to gift you today, is the roadmap of the pieces that create client growth engines. And I will help you distill its simplicity, because you have to have marketing. You have to have influence. You have to understand how to connect it and deliver it at the highest level, consistently, predictably, and that creates buzz. And from there, guess what also has to happen? For you to have a business that fuels your life, you have to have profitability and you have to have vision. Because you must be, as a business owner, if your business is your world, whether that's a corporate job or a solopreneur, somebody wants to make employment opportunities for others, you have to be your engine. Nobody else can do that for you. Here's the best part of that. You do not need to be your only fuel source. It is about finding fuel sources that will help you get where you want to go. And today we're going to take you through where are the gaps so that you have awareness, because every piece of movement, and movement's what builds momentum, starts when you know where your gaps are. So to grow any business, and I mean any business on the planet, I don't care what your industry is, what your niche is, where you are, what your background is, and where you want to go. To be the catalyst for change, every business on the planet needs three things. Only three. But before I tell you what they are, I want you to know two things predict your revenue in the next 90 days. And typically, almost everybody from first in contact to a yes offer on most industries I've worked is 90 days or longer. Doesn't usually happen more quickly unless you have a really, really good message, to Harvey's point, and you get visible with it. Two things are predicting your revenue. So the only two things you really need to be aware of, everything else is distraction. How many people are you meeting who have the potential to be a buyer or introduce you to a buyer? And how many offers have you made? Those two things predict your revenue in the next 90 days. And anytime that your business is not creating clients and your goal is client creation, always go back to that simple truth. What the hell have I been doing for the last 30 days? Or the last 90 days? How many new people have I met? How many people have I made offers to? And an offer is not, just so we're crystal clear, a post on social media that says, hey, come buy my stuff. It's also not one email that says, I've got an offer. Here's my world in the last week. I had to check my own ego at the door because I was like, what's going on in my business? Feel like I've traveled a lot and I have traveled a lot. I'm still in a hotel room today. Have I been meeting new people and have I made offers? And I thought, I've really been distracted. So I cleared my calendar. I spent 1 hour. I made phone calls. I left voice notes. I reached out and had conversation. I filled a room for an upcoming event, which is where my buyers will be in the room. I followed up on some open quotes and I had 4 deals done. Yeses, I'm ready. Thank you for caring, because I was so distracted. It wasn't that I wasn't interested. Silence doesn't mean no. That's your ego talking to you. Be careful of the falseness there. You need to go back and do the work. Here's the work you need to focus on, because if those two things predict your revenue, take this as just truth for a woman who's helped people create $1 billion. Here's what you can do to get better results. The first thing you need to know is that you need to master the skill of building an audience of buyers. Note, I didn't say building an audience. We're talking business here. If money doesn't move hands, that means there's no exchange of value. That means you have the wrong focus, because one conversation can equal one transformation, one impact, one spark, one yes. Don't play the numbers game. It's a false distraction. But an audience of buyers is essential. And here is why this is not a one and done thing. And that's where I think there's a fantasy, and social media highlight reel has bought us into this. You are always looking for clients. In a business, dream clients. It doesn't matter whether your Katrina's been in business 20 years, we just talked about this yesterday, or you're somebody who's just trying to find your first client. This is an ever need. If you are driven by impact, it's finding the buyer who catches your vision, your yes, your vehicle. But building an audience of buyers is essential. And buyers have a unique set of skills. They are problem aware. You're not convincing anybody. They are already problem aware. They have tried other solutions and had not seen results. And they're motivated and open to exploring another avenue, which means they have what on the table? Possibility. And hope is a bigger driver than fear. Please lean into the hope. The third thing that happens is that they are prioritizing getting the result. If you don't have those three things on the table, they're not buyers today. And here's a shocking stat, but this is why this is such an important piece of the puzzle. And then we will move to the next section. This is the truth. Only 3%, 2 to 3, depending on where you read your stats, are buyers today. And that might have just taken the wind out of your sails. But I will be truthful. Your goal is to nurture people, care about people, and have confidence in your ability to be certain that you will be there when they're ready. And if they're not certain you'll be here in a year, they're not spending money with you. So 3% of people are buyers. You must master the skill of how to recognize those things. And in the chapter that I wrote, I talk about the lanes of traffic. I'm going to encourage you to go read that chapter, because being able to assess when you are out there networking, meeting people, you need to know what lane of traffic they're in. Are they buyers? Are they prioritizing? Are they ready? And if not, what can you do to keep them moving? Because the second key part of this is moving people, influencing people. From curiosity to paid client. That's sometimes known as marketing. But marketing is not the tactic. It is the 50,000 feet that moves people from a safe place in the distance where they're searching scared in the dark towards seeing you as the viable must hire to help guide them to the result. You're not the solution, you're the guide on the journey. And two things about when you're positioning yourself, especially as a service-based business, is that you must, one, show that you've walked your talk, that you have gotten the result that they are seeking. Human, imperfect, flawed, lots of mistakes along the way. That's the story that Harvey was talking about. You need to tell it. I didn't get there because I was lucky. I got there because I got my ass kicked repeatedly. Lots of knives in my back. But you have to show you can get there. But to be a must hire, which is the second key pillar every business owner needs to do, you have to be able to guide somebody. And you have to want to do that. I think so often we think that, we can just, if osmosis was it or a book was it, we'd already have the answers, because if all it took was to post on social media to have your business, you'd have it. Wake up. That's false. You need to move somebody, and you need to do the second thing, which is position yourself as a must hire. And what a must hire is somebody who is very clear on, first off, the result, and second off, the value created by having the result. I think somebody asked me yesterday, why do I think so many businesses struggle to get clients? You're not clear on your value. You sound like everybody else. I heard it even in this morning session with Jackie. What's the value? I give you 3 questions. They're so what's like a child. What are you doing this for? Why you? For that 3%, why would they choose you? And what does the consequence of staying in the darkness mean for them? And if you can't connect to that, you are a likable expert, somebody who goes, great, like your content, but I'm never going to buy from you. And I want you to have people that you're creating impact with. Step 3, you're moving people. So let's just to recap, you've got building an audience of buyers. You are positioning yourself as the must hire to help them get the results. The third thing is you have to lead the offer. Yeah, I said it. You have to sell. And what sales really is serving at the very highest level. If you know you can help somebody, just be kind and give the offer. And the offer is about value. Just so we're clear, how does a value lead to a yes? It's when the benefit of the solution is greater than the investment level. If it is not, I will not buy. I can't afford it. Costs too much. But those are the 3 foundations every business on the planet needs. And it is that simple. Always know that 2 things predict your revenue. These 3 things, the ability to master building an audience of buyers, positioning yourself as the must hire, and knowing how to create value and lead the offer, will create repeatable success. Let's take a look at the workshop section. I want you to ask yourself this. Business is really, really simple. So often we have got it so complicated, but here's how I will step you out of overwhelm in a second. Do you remember, anybody familiar? And if any of you do, pop it in the chat. What is the 80-20 principle? Or the Pareto principle, if you want to use the Latin term of it. What is the 80-20 principle, and how will it help you like this? Step out of overwhelm in business. 80-20 principle. Who's heard of that term? 80% of your money comes from 20% of your buyers. It also comes from 20% of your effort. So if you want to have better results, you must master 20%. Did I just make life easier? Hands up if I made life easier. Who can focus on 20% every day? Thank you, Mitch. If you can focus on 20% every day, you will grow your engine to what? Achieve the result of consistent client growth. I want you to write that down, put a post-it note in your workspace. What is your 20%? Right now, I want you to think about what's the 80% that you're completely distracted by. That does not lead to client growth. New logo, new fonts, beautiful graphics. Like, what are they for you? I want you to put on the paper, what is the 80% you do right now that does not lead to a buyer interaction or a prospect, a potential one, or an offer? Because I will tell you, 18 months ago, maybe even longer than that, I was sitting with Katrina, and this blew my brain. What's the lane I want to pay in? Could I find 20% that delivered the result for me? And the moment I did that, it was like this giant balloon of stress just slowly popped. Put it down. Where are you spending time now that is not creating results? And just cast your imagination for 1 second. If you didn't do that 80%, could you be much better at mastering the other 20? I made a promise to myself, having been a corporate climber and having had this really, really big career, that I was never going to work 100 hours a week again. I was never going to do it. That was my promise to myself. And if you're in my email newsletters, you know I talked pretty recently that I had to call my shed on that because I was starting to creep up to pretty big hourly weeks, and that I don't want to do that. Go back and simplify. What's your 20% that's going to make your business make money, and focus on it. And then I want you to think about, in that 20% that's working for you, for me, they are speaking, networking, and events, because my business moves on experiences. And you heard Arvi talk about the changing of the speaker role. It's about experiences, because you didn't get out of bed today to hire me. Chances are you're not the 3% yet. But where can you find, which is step 2 here in the workshop, where can you find more people who will buy your services? Here's a really big hint again about stepping out of overwhelm. Your peer group are not your buyers. People who've been through your same training are not your buyers. People who are not in the same commitment as you are in this season are not your buyers. I want you to get out of rooms who are wasting time and space with you if they're not rooms that connect you to buyers. You will still take the friendships with you, but you need to focus. I built my first business 1 hour a day. 1 hour focusing on buyers, positioning, and offers. It snowballed, and so will yours. But step 2 is figuring out, where are your buyers? Because your buyers, trust me, even in this really rocky economy, are desperate for solutions, because their runway to figure it out on their own is small. It's gotten smaller. They're more motivated than ever, but where are they searching? On Google, Pinterest, YouTube, in conversations with friends. What is the conversation they're having with their girlfriends around the soccer pitch, around a glass of wine, or wherever? Because I want you to be eavesdropping, not creepily, please don't be creepy, Where are they having these conversations? Because step 3 is this. What are the problems that they're talking about? Unfiltered, unedited, unapologetic of how hard it is. I had this conversation with a client yesterday. I could tell you that a friend of mine had her house burnt down. It's fact. Don't mark it at the factual level. You sound like everybody else. I said, instead, if you wanted to connect with my friend who lost her entire house on a fire at Sunday at 2 a.m. because her neighbor's house caught on fire, I said, her husband is angry. He is violently angry. She can't stop crying. Their marriage is now on the rocks because they have a major catastrophe going on in their lives. Their kids are staying with friends. Their dog is staying with a friend. And right about now, her entire income disappeared because she's a massage therapist and her business runs from her house. The consequences of her house fire are not a fact. They're emotional. So I want you to think about what are the problems that you're solving. And here's not the most important thing. It's not describe the problem and talk about the facts. I want you to understand what is the consequence of that problem. Because here's how you move people from curiosity, I said, to paid client. It comes down to your ability to connect to the darkness and understand the pivot point. When I mean pivot point, I mean, when's the step of action happening? You need to understand it, sit in non-judgment in it, be visible in it, and be human in it. And I want you to lead with hope here. What if that wasn't your reality? And then as your strategy and marketing is developed, and that's what we work on, building that audience of buyers and knowing how to move them, I want you to invite them to follow footprints in the sand. But instead of describing the problem, which creates zero movement for 2 reasons. One, I don't recognize myself as having the problem. So you're convincing me, and I don't know I'm a buyer for you, and we're going to go around and merry-go-round forever. Or 2, I do recognize myself in your description, but you've called me out. I feel shamed, and that's going to lead to zero movement. So I want you to write on your paper and your notes, what can I do through conversation, currency, connection to invite movement? Movement with somebody who is in the dark, scared, uncertain, and what are they looking for? Your product should be about certainty and confidence that the result they seek is possible. Lead with hope. Step number 4 is to understand this part of the value equation. I've said it before, but I want to come back to this. People will exchange money when the result that they have is more valued than the investment. What's really important for you to hear this, because I think the world is also a little out of twist with this, people will not pay for your time. They won't pay for your time. They'll pay for the result. So you have to get clear on what's the result they want and why is it valued. And you can't guess here. Ask. Be prepared to go into the darkness. Be prepared to go in non-judgmentally. Be prepared to sit there and not just take the first answer, but peel the onion. Because when you do that, that's when you have connection. That's when your messaging lands. That's when they start to see, I want it more than I'm scared. And that isn't going to be a one and done conversation for most people. Unicorns happen in your business, which is a unicorn shows up and you're going, I've never talked to you, but they're ready to hire you on the spot. And you're saying, how did that happen? It's because everything that you've built in your business journey helps you already be clear on who the buyer is, knows how to create movement. Movement is what builds momentum, and you're leading offers. You're talking about the programs and services by name and about the result that you guide people to, because when people will exchange money, doesn't matter whether it's $1, 1,000, or 100,000. What they're doing is saying, I have confidence you can guide me to the result. So do you know how to do that? Do you know how to communicate that? If not, you have a gap. And go back to the first part. Only deliver in ways you love. This is your business. Find your lane. One of the free resources you'll find on my website, I know Katrina will drop a link for another free resource, but I have 25 ways to build an audience of buyers on my website. Come and get it. There's lots of different strategies. There's lots of different ways, but what I want you to know is you get to choose to do your business your way. I had to remind a client of mine that last night. I said, this is your business, your lane, do it your way. And if you don't have confidence in your own value, it's really hard to see. Find awesome peers who will help you see your value when you wobble. Because here's a truth that nobody talks about, or I don't think gets enough airtime. We wobble. I want to give you one final thing. I'm going to close with this. I have been on this journey for many years. I said I've worked with lots of clients. I have big shifts going on in my business, and I had to sit down, and I want to read to you what I wrote in my journal as I start to recenter myself, because I had to remind myself of this. So I'm going to use this moment to reaffirm to myself, to hear it to you. Here it is. This is how you be extraordinary. Big dreams require the fortitude to take small steps consistently over an extended period of time, to have the courage to bet on yourself, to stay the course through the triumphs, the setbacks, the plot twists on the journey and the path that I cannot see with my eyes, but I 100% feel in my heart is there. I'm going to lean in to the heart and trust that the message connects. Business is elegantly simple. Those three things, take them to the bank.